guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Ivy, and today I'm going to be talking about The Death Cure by James Dashner. So this is the third book in the Maze Runner trilogy, and I have read the first two books, and I did do videos on each of those, so I'll have those linked down below in case you want to hear my thoughts on those two books. But in the first book, The Maze Runner, it follows Thomas, and he's a 16-year-old boy who wakes up one day in this place called the Glade, and he's surrounded by other teenage boys just like him. The thing is, he can't remember anything except for his first name, Thomas, and neither can they. So they are trapped in the middle of this ginormous maze, and they have been trying to get out for 2 years, and no one has ever survived a night in the maze. So Thomas and the other Gladers, as they call themselves, have to figure out how to get out of this maze. And so, yeah, that's basically what the first book is about. So if you have not read that book, I recommend that you leave this video now, because if by talking about this book, I'm going to spoil that book. Does that make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So this book picks up basically right where the Scorch Trials left off, and it starts off with Thomas is in this white room for 3 weeks alone, and he's like fed and everything, but that's it. There's nothing else for him to do. And so after 3 weeks, he's let out, and the Rat Man tells him that some of them are immune to the flare and others aren't, but that Thomas is like super important and that they're going to get their memories back. So they're going to find out who's immune and who isn't, and they're supposed to get their memories back, but the truth hurts. So, yeah, that's basically all I can tell you without spoiling this book. So, again, if you have not read this book, leave this video now before I spoil it for you. Okay, so we find out that Newt has the flare, and I was so upset over this. Newt isn't my favorite character, but still, I was like, oh my gosh, my poor little baby Newt is gonna, like, I don't know, oh gosh. Anyways, they are given a choice to get their memories back or not, and so Thomas, Minho, and Newt all decide not to get their memories back, so they are detained, and they start planning to escape. And then Wicked tries to force them to get their memories back. And we find out that Brenda works for Wicked, and so does Jorge. But Brenda ends up helping Thomas and them to escape along with Jorge. And they all get on a hovercraft and leave. And they head to Denver because one of Brenda's friends, Hans, he is this like scientist. He also used to work for Wicked. And he can take the tracking devices out of the boys' brains. So they end up in Denver, and they get this note from Gally, who, if you remember in the first book, he he betrayed them. And so they get this note from Gally saying to meet him, and they do. And Gally explains about this Right Arm, which is this organization that is trying to overthrow Wicked. And they decide, wow, that's pretty cool, Gally, let's join you. But first they need to get the things out of their brains, so they go find Hans, and after some struggles, because Thomas is controlled by Wicked, they are able to get the devices out of Minho and Thomas's head. By the way, they left Newt on the hovercraft, because he has the flare, and infected can't get into the cities. So then Thomas and the group, they end up at this cafe, and then Thomas gets captured by this cop. And I was so mad at Thomas, because how stupid can you be? Like, oh my gosh, he's such an idiot. But he got captured by the cop dude, but then the cop dude was killed by Wicked. And basically Wicked told Thomas, like, we need you to save the world, come back. Thomas is like, no way, Jose. So then Thomas is reunited with the group, and they go back to the hovercraft, and they figure out that Newt is missing. And he left them a note saying that he was taken to Crank Palace. Also, he gave Thomas a note that says to read it when the time is right. But Thomas doesn't know when that time will be. So they decide to go looking for Newt to try to rescue him and take him out of there, the Crank Palace, which is like where they put the cranks who aren't past the gone yet. They put them there to live. So they go there and they find Newt, and he basically is like, go away, get away from me, and he hates Thomas. He despises Thomas, and we don't know why. But it seems like Thomas did something really bad to him. So they eventually give up and leave him behind. And then once they leave, Thomas decides to read the note. And guess what the note says? Kill me. It says, kill me, put me out of my misery. Like, do it. If you've ever been my friend, kill me. And oh my god, I almost started crying because of this. Like, it was the saddest thing, and so that was why Newt was so mad at him, because of the note. And it made sense why Newt would want to be killed, and I'm with him. If I was him, I would want to be killed. And so that was just really hard, and now Thomas feels really guilty about that and stuff. So then, I don't know how, but they all get captured by these people, and they're like put into this room with a bunch of other mutants who have been captured, and they're reunited with Teresa and the rest of the group, and they like talk about what's happened, and then they figure out that they were captured by the right arm, because the right arm wants to use the immunes to get into Wicked's headquarters. But so on the way to the Wicked leaders, on the way to meet the right arm's leader, Thomas sees Newt, and he goes out and talks to him, and Newt has the gun. Or no, Thomas has the gun, and Thomas is like, he doesn't want to shoot Newt, and they go back and forth, and then he does. Thomas kills Newt. And, like, oh my gosh, this was one of the most heart-wrenching things I've ever read. I'm not even kidding. It was so emotional for me. I was dying. And it was just so bad, because Thomas will forever carry this guilt with him that he killed Newt, even though it was what was for the best. So, oh my gosh, it was just, oh my gosh. So they go on to meet the Right Arm's leader, and the plan is explained, and Thomas needs to go back to Wicked to basically plant this device that will deactivate all of their weapons. So he ends up back at Wicked, and they're about to operate on his brain, like cut it open and study it, and it's a fatal operation. They're going to study it to find the cure. So he is like basically on the bed where they're about to do it, and then he goes unconscious, and he wakes up, and he hears like alarms and stuff, so his friends are here to be there, and he's like, why am I not dead? And then he sees this note from Chancellor Paige, the leader of Wicked, saying, we're gonna let you go, like, the best thing now is for you to get the other immunes and start a new life. So Thomas finds his friends again, and they abandon the Right Arm because the Right Arm has gone violent. They're gonna blow up the entire Wicked headquarters. So he and his friends end up in the maze again because they need to rescue all of the immunes that were captured by Wicked. And they are, like, just there when the explosions start, and so debris starts falling everywhere, so they start running, and people get killed, and then they're in the Griever room, and the Grievers attack, and they defend against the Grievers. Then they get to the Flat Trans, and everyone is through except for Thomas, Minho, and Teresa, or something like that. And the Rat Man comes, and they have to fight him, and then the explosions happen, so there's all this debris falling, and as they're running towards the Flat Trans, a piece of ceiling is about to fall on Thomas. But Teresa pushes him out of the way, and she ends up getting killed by it. Again, my heart was, everything just, she sacrificed herself for him. She sacrificed herself for him, even though he basically was just like, I don't no, Teresa. She still loved him, and oh my gosh, he still loved her, I believe. Like, I think he still loved her, to be honest. And it was just, I don't even have any words. Just, oh my gosh. But they ended up going through the flat trans, and they're in this safe area. They're going to start a new life. All of the immunes. Brenda and Thomas are in love, and it's a happy ending minus Newt and Teresa are gone. But you know what? What can you do? Like, I don't know. But that was the ending. It ended right there, and I honestly thought it was a good ending for this series. This book was such a great ending to the trilogy. I can't even tell you. I loved it so much. The characters are great, especially Minho, my favorite. And the story was so suspenseful and fast-paced and intense. It's just so good. Like, what my type of read right here. And I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The only issue I had was that Thomas kept having these instincts. Like, he was like, I had a feeling about this. Or is it, let's see. Yeah, it's in the third person. So he's like, it's like, Thomas just had this feeling. I'm like, that's not how it works. You don't just have this feeling that tells you what to do all the time. Like, no, that's not how life works. But because of that one issue, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Other than that, it was so good. I loved it, just like I loved the rest of the series, and I cannot wait to read the 2 prequels. Like, I'm so excited for those. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and would like this book like I did, because literally when the people in it died, I died with them. And yeah, so there will forever be a hole in my heart because of this book and because of what happened in it. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you guys next week. Bye!